Today I've grabbed my LPG guitar and LPJ guitar, and we're gonna play some sustained stuff, hopefully with a bit of heat added to it as well. We'll see about that. As we warm up, it'll get hotter, I'm sure about it. Found this soft organic rock backing track by Mr. Javier Aviles. I hope levels are okay. I'm gonna raise my guitar a little bit. I'm playing in D minor here. So you can either play like the D minor scale or just the D pentatonic here on the 10th fret. Ash, what's up, my man? Ash, my name is Christopher Dahl. How you doing, man? Tommy, what's up, my man? Andy, what's up? I don't know Little Wing. Sorry, man. I learned it back in the days, but I totally forgot it. Or I don't think I ever mastered it, but I tried learning it. Tommy, so we have coffee in the morning. Are you gonna go running afterwards? Sorry, just had to ask you. For those who are watching the replay, Tommy's username is Tommy the Runner. Couldn't help myself. It begins again. I'm pretty sure your heart will go on. I'm 100% sure about it. You have to get over her or him. It's important. Your heart will go on. Nice ducking there of me. So are levels okay? Can you hear both my guitar and the backing track? Oh, Master of Puppets. Metric like the stream, awesome, thanks so much. I don't know Rain in Blood, sorry. Oh, backing is a touch quiet. So is it better? Of course, the backing track went soft there, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit and compare when it goes loud again. Fade to black. It's kind of hard in D minor. Dimebag Darrell on this guitar, that would be something like. I don't know. Kit, when did I start playing? Around 30 years ago. So I've been sitting around with my guitar quite a bit. And I've loved every second of it. Eruption, I don't know it. I can do a bit of tapping. Thought I could. Have a sub. Thank you so much, man. My guitars, I would say around 14, 15. Here are some of them. Some more. I have more stored elsewhere. I have a little headless one, which is currently going viral in one of my shorts here on the channel. And people are really like, oh, you can't play blues on a headless scalloped guitar. That's a blasphemy. No, it's not at all. This is horrible. I just need to spend 10 hours with this video commenting. That's fun. And that guitar is, well, you can see the headless head of it right there. I might do a stream with it. Gotta fire it up, tune it up. How long did it take to be so fluid? Thanks, man. So I would say you have to count around 10 years to get some decent fluidity. Can be done faster for sure. It's all a matter of how targeted your practicing is, I would say. A lot of people just try to improve speed, and then they get a really non-fluid technique and they have to go back and fix it. But if you're targeting fluid playing from the beginning and make sure your playing is fluid even when starting out. So I mean, most people don't practice like that. As soon as they can play a little bit faster, they do. You know, and it's not going to get fluid if you do that. So it's really a matter of being focused and thinking high quality in the beginning. So you got to invest a little bit more time before you see results, but the results will be so much better. And I mean, that's classic. You know, it's like taking, taking the easy road or taking the trickier but the more rewarding road. That's what it's about, you know. I still practice fluidity at this tempo, even though I'm playing fast for you guys. This is where the good tone comes from, this kind of practicing, right? You won't get fluidity if you try to push that. It's like, I can't do it! You know, so you really got to be comfortable spending time at those slower tempos where you have the time to think about being relaxed, think about playing legato so that each note rings out and kind of flows into the other one. All that stuff. And the good thing is, I mean, I don't consider that to be an issue. I love practicing at slow tempos because that's when you can improvise, right? You can... I still practice like this. Right? I don't see an issue with that. I don't understand why people would rather do this, you know? Just play music slowly, make sure it sounds good, and let the flow come, right? Of course, it takes a lot of time, but it's good fun because you're playing music, right? I love playing with improvisation. It's awesome. I don't know any Santana, sorry. I think I transcribed the Maria, Maria, you know that thing? Well, that was a long time ago. You are so cool, thank you, Rita. I don't know Rain in Blood. Could you listen to Rain in Blood solo and see if you can do it? Well, I've heard the track, I love it, but I've never done any Slayer stuff. It's a little bit just all over the place to my ears. It's cool, but it's a lot of work to transcribe something that is a little bit sloppy. So I don't think I'd do that, you know. I feel really bad for saying that. I'm not taking anything away from Slayer, a really cool band though. Sorry, don't know. Misery Lou. Something like that. I just know the beginning, sorry. Dragon Force, don't know any. Good electric guitar amp for beginners under 250. So I think like a Strat copy, if you can take some more experienced guitarist with you and try some Strat copies, cheaper Strats in stores, that usually can be a very good deal. You can get a pretty good guitar for low money. Amps, like maybe like Boss Katana or something like that, or a, you know, small practice amp, they're good now. Back in the days when I was starting out, it was impossible to get a decent amp that didn't cost a lot. So I played with crappy amps for many, many years. It's a shame, but now it's possible. Just get your average digital practice amp, like your Boss practice amp, that's gonna be good. Or what's the other one called? I can't remember. I have the Yamaha THR, which is also decently cheap. For practice amp. Now I use, this is a real tube amp, a Mesa Boogie Mark V, but I also use the Yamaha THR, it sounds awesome. I don't know more than that for Misery Lou. Sorry, I'm crap. But if you want to jam with me in D minor, I'd be happy to do so. I just have to say it, this guitar, you know, there's a lot of talk about Gibson sustain and this and that, but this guitar has sustain. I mean, it's really chunky, it's fat, it's not that playable, and it's heavy, but listen to this, the singing quality. It's almost like the note grows on you. Might be a little, I don't think it's the intonation. It's the tuning, sorry. Should be okay with a bit of vibrato. Could be that as well. Whenever your intonation is off, first clean your strings. And my bad, I should have done this before the stream started. Yeah, intonation is okay. Let's try it one more time. Okay, lots of cool question there. Learning the fretboard, that's a good one. A lot of people wonder, how do I kind of learn the fretboard so I can start playing all over? Wouldn't that be cool? So instead of just playing in your pentatonic position, instead of just doing that, you could do play all over the fretboard, right? That would be amazing. And it's a very good question because it's something that needs to be addressed, mostly because of the misconception around it. It's one way to visualize where the notes are. You can do that in a day. That's not hard. But that is not going to make you play all over the fretboard, okay? So what happens is you can go and buy some expensive course which tells you how to visualize the notes on the fretboard. And it's like, okay, It's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there. Okay. What is that gonna do to your playing? Nothing. Are you gonna remember it for a long time? No, you're gonna forget about it immediately. So most people who are looking to learn the fretboard, they are not really interested in knowing where the notes are. They are interested in being able to play all over the fretboard. And to play all over the fretboard, you need licks, patterns, phrases, exercises, and runs. That's what you need. And yes, you should play them in scales, and it's a good way to gradually expand your fretboard reach by practicing any of these licks, phrases, exercises into a scalar box, which you can then expand upon. Okay, that's how you learn the fretboard. So it's not so much about understanding where the dots are. That's fairly easy. It's about practicing those dots with musical examples so that you can start using it. Because once you start using it, for example, you know, in your jams, which is gonna take you a long time, but you're gonna remember it forever. Those patterns are gonna be engraved in your muscle memory, and you will be able to do that thing you're longing to do. But it has almost nothing to do with visualizing the dots. That's the easy part. It has everything to do with practicing lots of different examples, preferably chosen in a, you know, instructional way, so that you can learn how to move things around. That's the key behind it. Once you realize that, I think it's easier to go search for the right solutions. You're not looking for a quick fix to just see the dots. That's not really gonna help you. Cool, so let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, although that's a good one. Cage system is one way of visualizing those dots. Another way is to just learn the root notes and how the root note repeats in octaves. That's how I did it. But both of these methods are just for visualizing the dots. They do not help you play around. You need musical examples that you can then practice within your caged box. You know, that's fine. But the caged box itself is just a way to visualize the notes. Zeep, have a good one. Bye-bye. So my apologies if I missed anything here. I'm going to Indonesia, Joe Satriani. I don't know any Joe Satriani. To me, Joe Satriani is always is mostly about coming up with a melody. I've never learned Satch's, you know, his legato stuff, or you know to me, Satch was always about coming up with really memorable melodies. So that's what I got from listening to him, just melody. You know, he's one of the few guitarists who can come up with a guitar melody that's pretty much as memorable as a vocal melody. That's hard, right? So to me, that's what Satch is about. And you know, I learned a few of his like from Crystal Planet. But I don't remember it. But those were very good melodies. I don't know gently, my guitar gently weeps, sorry. Steve Ray Vaughan. To me, that's a Steve Ray Vaughan lead. I don't know. Jess has retuned. Happy about it. Hey Christopher, I'm a grunge guitarist and I often have trouble thinking of riffs to write, and I need tips on how I can write more music. Awesome. That's obviously one of the things I have a passion for, just writing through jamming riffs. I love that. So a lot of times I'll just, you know, So I'll just grab a drum groove. This is a notoriously stiff one. It's a drum machine and it doesn't sound very good, but I still practice this because A, it's easy for me to fire it up. It's this kind of thing, right? It's this. It's easy for me to fire it up because I don't need to turn on the computer. I mean, that's fine to grab backing tracks via the computer, but I like also to not stare at the screen because, you know, let's face it, we all stare at the screen all day. So whenever I can stare at my guitar, my fingers, or this kind of slightly analog thing, I'll take it. So I use like a drum machine or a groove, and then I'll just come up with something basic, you know, as a warm-up thing. I don't care about it sounding so good, I just work on some flow. Let's see if you guys can see this. And I'll sit around for a long time, I'm not gonna bore you with that. And after 15 or 20 minutes, I've been moving things around, I'll definitely stumble upon something. Plus, I will have gotten some more, I'll have warmed up and it'll be easier to kind of find the groove and also just to move my fingers, right? And a lot of times, I'll just jam around the different riffs and maybe I won't write something, but then a day will pass and I'll start humming on something in my head and it'll be something related to something I played, and just gradually I get riffs from that, right? I think if I had a good day where I had a good sleep and I could just record for 5 hours, I would probably just be able to throw out a lot of riffs, and that's how I produce these shorts that are especially big on my Facebook. And it comes from me doing this, just spending a lot of time just jamming around with riffs. And if you want to, you can be more, you know, you can write everything down, you can start record stuff, you can start categorizing the riffs you come up with. I like to keep it more spontaneous. I just feel that somehow it gets stored in the back of my head and I can bring it up, you know, whenever playing. So that's my approach to writing riffs. Though it's not grungy, of course, but I'm sure you could apply that to grunge as well. It's just a matter of, you know, jamming around, goofing around, and good stuff will come. Christopher, my brother from another mother. Christopher, we had a really good session over Zoom. I think that was before the summer, right? It was really fun finally seeing you. Steve Carell, is that me? California, you mean Californication? Jazz has returned, that's good. I'm just catching some questions here, see. I need to put my volume to my, oh. So levels, are levels bad? Is this better? We had some question about Lydian. I'm trying to find it. Just demonstrate the difference between Lydian and Mixolydian. Pretty cool. Let's do that. Good question. So I'm trying to establish a major groove here, something in E major. Mixolydian. Let's compare that to the Lydian sound. I don't know if you can hear anything. Let's try it again. We have E here, right? And then we have, this is the sound of the Mixolydian. I'm mixing it up with the E dominant arpeggio. If we compare that with E Lydian, I'm actually mixing in with the mode of the Hirajoshi scale here. There we have it. Okay, so the difference is obviously just one note, but if you emphasize it, it sounds very different. And I think that's the lesson to be remembered here, that sometimes it's a little bit confusing. You play like the E Mixolydian, and like, okay, and then you change a note here and there, or actually two notes that are different, but it's still just based around the major scale, and you change a note here and there. In the Lydian scale, we have like a raised fourth, and in Mixolydian we have a minor 7, and we don't touch the fourth, basically. So I probably prefer the Lydian sound because it's so mysterious. Mixolydian to me is fine. It's rock and roll, you know, a little bit like a boomer rock maybe, but I prefer. Well, I think when people would play Mixolydian, I'd much rather play like minor pentatonic meets major pentatonic. That has Mixolydian vibe, but it's more pushy. I mean, you get that, you get the minor 7 and the major third, which is the combination. But you also get that awesome combination of minor and major third, which is sounds awesome to my ears. So I'm a big fan of Lydian. Mixolydian is fine, but I prefer mixing major and minor pentatonics. Long answer, I'm not sure it's helpful. The theory stuff can be a little bit confusing in these live streams. So if you're interested, there is a longer version. You can search for my name or whatever. But in essence, that's what I go for. Someone asked about SRV. Yeah, I don't know a lot of SRV. I would never grow old. He's good though, but I can't play stuff. He was good, I should say. The amp is awesome. Thank you, Chris. It's Mesa Boogie Mark 5 you're hearing. SpongeBob. Sorry, don't know that. John, I do teach. So if you're interested, you can just search for my name and you're gonna find my teaching stuff. Lithium. I think I messed up. There you have it. From Australia, awesome, man. So Stockholm, Sweden here, in case you guys were wondering. Maybe you guys want to share your location, that would be awesome. We can see just how much of a mix we have there. And I'm guessing we're gonna have very few from the US, since they're probably sleeping now. Buy better distortion or overdrive for first pedal? Oh, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one. It totally depends on what you're into. I mean, if you're into metal and you just have a clean amp, then you should definitely go find yourself a good high gain distortion pedal. You know, we have the classic the Metal Zone. Some people still like that, but there are stuff to choose from there. Now, if you have an amp with a bit of distortion already and you're not into metal, then an overdrive might do the trick, especially if it's like an overdrive like the full tone OCD or something where you can have some tweaking options. In general, I would probably start with a decent amp, and you can get good practice amp, digital practice amps, and I'm not even sure you need a pedal with those. I mean, I have the Yamaha THR, and it does pretty much what I needed to do distortion-wise. I can do high gain distortion, heavy stuff. I can do creamy, fat lead stuff and clean stuff as well, although I don't use it that much for that. New Zealand, awesome. That's another place I'd like to go to. What are you into, Daddy? Oh my. What am I into? I'm into guitars. I'm into wildlife. Because I'm a wild man. Wild one! Sorry. So, funny question. I didn't know what to answer. Let's see. Something in E minor. Sorry, I don't know who Don Felder is. Cool. You've been playing for 15 years and you want to learn the blues. So the biggest takeaway I got from the blues was just how to, basically be more expressful in my lead playing, in my licks. I never really learned rhythm guitar at all, especially not bluesy rhythm guitar. With a bit of thinking, I could probably figure out the 12-bar blues, but I never cared much about it. I never cared that much about following the chords in the blues. I just think the progression is, it's so basic and so, if you start following the chords, it's like there's no magic left. So I like to just rumble around. And sometimes if I'm in a fusion setting, I think more of the chords, but in pop, rock, and blues, I don't really care that much about the chords. So I only cared about the licks. That's what I did. Couldn't call it right or wrong, but I'm a big fan of following your heart as you're learning. Otherwise, there's a chance or risk you will put the guitar down. But if you always make choices based on what you love learning, and then good things are going to come out of that. And I did that for the blues as well. I heard from different people that I was supposed to learn the blues, and I just did it my way. So in other words, I just did it for these kind of licks, right? SRV inspired. Oh, East Coast. How you doing, man? Hi from Russia. What's up? And by the way, stop your illegal invasion now. I know you're not personally responsible for it, but still needs to be mentioned. Oh, lots of USA here. I didn't think we'd have that. I thought you guys would be sleeping. So, so what I did, I took basically SRV. To me is the go-to for cool blues licks. That kind of thing, right? Or anything that makes the pentatonic box sound cool. And we can check one of them out right now. So let's do this one, is one of my favorites. So I'm gonna be bending the 15th fret on the B string. So bending the 15th fret. Oh, Mageia, are you from Ukraine? Slava Ukraini. So we're bending the 15th fret on the B string. And then we play 12 and 12. Bending the 15, we play 12 on the E string and 12 on the B string. In order to do that, we're going to use this mini bar chord. or just a double stop. So we're going to bend the 15th fret B string, and we're going to be using several fingers. You don't just want to be using one and kind of struggle your way up. No. Bending is a group activity. Support your local bend, like this. With the other fingers, right? And then, like that. And the cool thing, once you master this, is you can do the bend on the high E string, and you're gonna get it, it's gonna sound like this when you combine them. So. Good thing with this lick, and it's a really great example of what I spoke about, just stealing a little bit of bluesy juice from SRV, and you can use that all over the place. It's totally gonna infuse more expression into your lead playing. So for example, this lick, I'm just moving that around, and you can do it as much as you want to. So I don't know much about the Eagles. You know, I've heard the Hotel California thing a whole bunch of times, but don't have any opinion. Interesting. I'm always having speed issue to play down to up strings. Are you meaning like the thick strings to the thin strings? Is that it? Let's see if we can find another track here. I'm just gonna find something more metalish so we can do a bit of shredding. So this is in C minor, and I'm gonna show you some picking from the thick string to the thin strings. So how do you shred from the thick to the thin strings? And that's harder. I prefer shredding from the thinner to the lower string. So something like this. I find that easier. Okay, so you're asking about thin to thick. We can speak about that as well. So whenever I go from thick to thin, I'm gonna be using legato or pigato, which is combining picking with legato, or economy picking. So lots of different workarounds in order to not play strict alternate picking. I find that very hard. So, I can do it, but it's not improvisation friendly, and I really tense up. So there's your strict alternate picking. So that's something that probably Paul Gilbert would do. But I prefer doing it like the Yngwie way, which is two-note string. Picking two-note string, right? So pick, hammer on, pick, hammer on, pick, hammer on. To me, that feels more comfortable than that, which is again very tensed up. So this would be the more like a Yngwie economy picking. And then we have probably my all-time favorite, which is just legato, right? So we're picking just a few notes, but mostly doing this. Or actually hybrid legato, because I'm doing pick and fingers. So like this. This is my favorite. Yeah, because I'm not picking a lot of notes. I'm using a combination of pick and finger, and I'm letting legato do the work here. Right? I find that much easier than the ouch, or even the Yngwie way. Ouch. Let's not play them. They're too horrible. So that's how I do for thick to thin. But thin to thick is a different story. I prefer that. I don't really know why. I think it goes down to the fact that when we go in this direction, the string change usually happens with a stronger finger than the... I mean, it's not very handy to do hammer-ons with just the index finger. That's a hammer-on from nowhere. It's a little bit harder than the ring finger, basically. That's what it goes down to. So, or the pinky. I find it easier to do hammer-ons with these fingers. So for some reason, that's much easier for me, I think. Even strict alternate picking is a little bit easier in that direction, but I still prefer doing the same thing I did in the other direction. So in other words, like the Yngwie version, which is to only pick a handful of notes and do a lot of legato. So if you look closely on my right hand now, see, I'm not picking a whole lot of notes. But again, the hybrid legato version I think is usually superior. Let's try it for this. Yeah, I prefer that. It's more improvisation friendly and it's less predictable. It does more interesting things, I think. Of course, there's always an opportunity to mess up. Can you hear my guitar? Oh, pick a winner. I would say hybrid legato is the winner for me personally, but we're all different. The reason I prefer hybrid legato is because I can improvise with it. It's harder. The more you pick, the trickier it is to improvise because you have to synchronize both hands and think about some interesting line, and that's hard. So if you can at least remove one hand out of the equation and just hit the occasional note, and then think more about the left hand and come up with new phrases, that's a little bit easier. For tone, I think the more you pick, the more aggressive it sounds. It can be really cool. So there's a balance between that attack and the improvisation or variation aspect. But I think that with hybrid legato, you can get some cool attack. This kind of thing, right? It's a pretty decent attack. This cuts through. So even with hybrid legato, you can get some attack. And if you want to try that, it's just your... we're going to be playing 10, 11, 13. On first the E string and then the A string. So what I'm doing is I'm palm muting, just as when you're playing your average. Whatever, I'm palm muting and I'm picking the first note and then hammer on, and then I'm doing the same on the A string, but here I'm not picking, I'm hybrid picking. So I get... Prince was a beast, for sure. My name is Christopher Dahl. Thanks for asking. Your pinky is slow as a snail. Well, that's good. If you've identified that, that's an improvement opportunity right there. You should focus on the pinky if you know that the pinky is the problem, because you know your technique is only as good as its weakest link, and since you have your weakest link there, work on it. Joni loves me. I love you, Joni. Thank you so much. I don't know any Avenged Sevenfold. Sorry, mate. So that's cool, Chris. YouTube link there. I used to play to YouTube links, but I don't think it's that fun anymore because randomly you get these copyright strikes. So I just shred to the GMC backing tracks because I own the rights to all of them, or just jam on my own or to my own backing tracks. Oh, Yngwie Malmsteen arpeggios from hell. I don't know that, but I like playing arpeggios, so something like this. Exactly, Aditya. So I was mixing those picking techniques. Oh, Ryan is asking about string gauge. I'm just scrolling back through your comments now. Well, I think string gauge. I primarily choose string gauge based on what is easy to play, and then you can always, you know, if you know that you prefer the sound of something, you can always change strings for recording maybe, but. I don't know, I don't do that. I mostly stick to 09 or sometimes 09 to 46 when I want a more like rhythm chug or a bit heavier rhythm. That's fine for me. I would like to try 08s. I know Yngwie uses them, but I haven't gotten to it yet. For me, the biggest thing is to not have to change strings all the time. So I do use the more expensive Elixir strings simply because I don't have to change strings all the time. I have a lot of hand sweat and I practice a lot. So if I don't use those strings, I have to change strings more than once per week, which is just not fun. My Solar. Sure, we can play a bit of Solar. Cool request. But I'm warning you, I'm mostly using this one for shred, so these things might get shreddy. Oh, GMC Amazings in 2007! You were the man! Yeah, GMC is my baby and I have a lot of affection for it, so thanks so much for saying that. So this is my Solar. For full transparency, Ola gave me this. I recorded a few demo videos for his Solar guitars 2 years ago, and he let me keep this one. A lot of fun. I've been playing it a lot. We live in the same city. Yes, Aditya, if we were neighbors, we'd be jamming. So the neck radius, I'm not sure, but the neck profile is like a thin D, I would say, like an LTD a little bit. I would say this is very flat radius. I don't know the exact radius. Whoops. Aditya, subscribe. Thanks so much, man. Oh, this is old Christopher Hirschfeld. He got me shredding with his guitar. Friot is YouTube official. What's up, man? That's my style there, good old blues. I don't know the Jackson guitar, sorry man, I've never had one. I'd love to have a Jackson Kelly, I'm a big Martin Friedman fan. But if you get yourself a good Jackson, I'm pretty sure it holds the same quality as a good Ibanez or anything, you know. That as always, if you can try the guitar first, that's better. Fanier, thanks for saying that. It must have taken years to practice to get your level. Well, I have played for many decades, yes. But it's been good fun, you know, as we've spoken about previously in the stream, you know, it's all about building your style in a musical way and have fun while doing it. So I never felt like years of practice. It just was the fun thing I wanted to do. So I've always just practiced. Oh. So I always practiced slowly. I took it easy and I built my fluidity gradually. Sorry, I don't know any Georgia Lynch. Matthias Henke, thank you. Are you Swedish? Sounded possibly Swedish. Är du svensk? Cool, we have a Swede here. 2 Swedes. We Swedes are famous for playing too many notes, so let's do it. I don't know any Fire and Flames. Riley, thank you so much. I don't know Benny Hill. Exactly, I'm speaking about Ingrid. We have many Swedes, shredder Swedes. We have Mattias Ia Eklund as well. Cosme from Brazil. Como está? I don't know any Portuguese, sorry. Love from India. How you doing, man? I wish I could say something in Indian. Makes me want to play my guitar through my new tube amp, but too early in the morning. Yeah, you can practice unamplified for a while. I always do that. I know Ola a little bit, yeah, because I met him a few times and recorded a few demos for him for solo guitars. But we haven't, had any contact in several years, so it's been a while. But it was good fun, good hangout. Richard, let's shred. There's your shred, Richard. Richard Rosendal, are you Swedish as well? Do we have like a Swedish gathering here? Are you Danish there? Sorry, I don't know any Danish. I never understand what Danish people tell me, and I feel really bad about it. But you guys understand what we say in Swedish, so I'm very happy about that. Thank you for that. So I just want to thank you guys for sticking around. It's been a really cool session. I had a lot of fun, and you guys have so many cool questions and just discussion topics you're bringing up here, and you are the ones making these streams wonderful. So thanks so much for that. You guys rock. And on top of that, you spread a really positive and nice atmosphere, which I think is a bit rare these days on the internet. You get so much hate and everything, but haven't seen any of that. You guys are the best. So I'm doing these in the mornings now, so I'll probably, if you want to, meet you again pretty much the same time tomorrow. Looking forward to it. See ya. Cheers.